eBay has been a huge internet success, and there's been an interesting shift that's taken place on it. Where security and trust used to be the big issues preventing people from using eBay, now one of the chief concerns people have is knowing that they're being treated fairly as far as shipping and handling charges go. In the past, some sellers used to take advantage of shipping rates, and bargains turned into less than bargains pretty quickly. Canada Post has been working with eBay to come up with some very sweet tools for eBay sellers and buyers. So if you're selling on eBay, you can use these tools to create an increased level of trust for your buyers, and at the same time, you can make sure that you're being properly compensated for shipping and spend far less time in the process. Let me show you how it works. If you go to the eBay site, all the shipping tools are built right in. They're very transparent as far as getting to them. So I'm going to show you from a selling perspective how you use the tools. So I'm going to start by creating a new listing. And when you go to sell something on eBay, I need something to sell. Oh, I'll sell my keyboard. I'm not going to need it after this demo. So let's say I'm going to sell this keyboard. When you create a listing on eBay, you just basically walk through a questionnaire that allows you to create your listing. So the first thing you have to do is say what it is. I'm going to say it's a keyboard. And then we start selling and we're off to the races. Now, creating a listing is just answering a whole series of questions within eBay and working your way from screen to screen and making sure that nothing is left out, making a few decisions on the way. So you choose the currency you want to sell in, Canadian dollars, you give it a nice catchy title and a subtitle, and you get pictures of it and you put it up and you get a good text description of what you're selling. And as you work your way through, you'll reach the shipping area right down here. And now you can choose to have a flat rate for shipping, which is the way a lot of sellers choose to sell their items, but it doesn't create a level of trust in the buyer because they don't know if they're being ripped off in any way, shape, or form. Instead, you can choose a calculated cost, which is actually based on where you live being shipped to where the buyer lives. And then I can choose the type of packaging. And here's where the Canada Post tools start to come in. I can choose to ship this by a medium Canada Post box. When I do that, I enter the weight of the item. I'm going to say this is about 2 pounds. I think it'll be about 2 pounds when it's all done. Then I choose the service, the level of service that I want to have it shipped by. Regular parcel post, expedited parcel, all the way up to priority post. So I'm going to say we're going to ship this by expedited parcel post. Then I got to put in the dimensions of the box that I'm shipping, and you should measure it out to make sure it's accurate. I think this is going to be about 14 inches by, what do you think, 8 inches by about 3 inches high. And then you continue through. Now, when you actually post this listing up on eBay, all of this data is saved in your listing. Your postal code where it's being shipped from, the type of service that you plan to ship it in, the size and weight of the parcel, so that when the buyer comes to go to purchase it or to bid on it, they will know accurately how much it's going to cost. And let me show you how that looks. I've got a listing here of an item that is being shipped from Hamilton, Ontario, offered on eBay, and I see the shipping price right here. It's $17.86. When I go to this listing, it says that's how much it's going to cost to ship it to, look, there's my postal code right there. How did eBay know this was my postal code? Because I've signed in as a user. I've got my account open, and if I'm going to bid on this, I have to sign in. So it's got my postal code information. If I scroll down to the bottom of the listing, I can actually see all the details on the shipping, and this is a big listing. But right down here is the shipping and handling information. So if I wanted to have this, say, drop ship to a different address, I would just put in the postal code where I want to have it drop shipped to, ask it to update, and it would then correct the shipping and handling charges. If the seller wants to, they can add an extra handling charge that allow them to pay for packaging and their labor in preparing the package for shipping. But at least now as a buyer, I know exactly what it's going to cost to have this shipped to me. So it's creating an extra level of trust between me and the seller. And that's going to be reflected when I put my feedback in at the end of the transaction. And the seller is going to have a better level of feedback on eBay, which is, of course, a very valuable asset. Now, there's another benefit here. Once the transaction is completed, the seller gets to print off their shipping label and all of their postage directly from the order. So they don't actually have to go into the post office to get their postage and to get their shipping label prepared. Instead, they can do it all themselves, and then they just have to take the package in and drop it off for shipping. So they're going to save all the time they would spend standing in line and paying for postage as they're about to ship it. Now, I'm going to show you one other place before we go on eBay, and that's a landing page on eBay at ebay.ca/Canada Post, which is Canada Post's own little area within eBay. And here we find a whole bunch of additional information and tools for people who are shipping items from eBay. It tells us, first of all, that there's an 8% discount that we get if we use eBay for all of our shipping, if we ship through eBay. Plus, there's all of the listing information walking you through how to add a listing and how to add Canada Post to your listing, the stuff that we were just looking at a few moments ago. As well, there's other tools for preparing your items, just a series of suggestions for preparing your item for shipping and actually shipping the items, and finally a tool for tracking the items as well as receiving items for tracking stuff coming to you. Canada Post has made a real effort to make shipping much easier. With online services like the Ship in a Click service that we showed you earlier in this season, or these eBay tools, we can see how the old world of the post office meets cyberspace. It's great. Shipping is no longer a hassle. For eBay sellers, you end up serving your customers better by making shipping transparent, thereby earning their trust. It is a perfect partnership that we can all benefit from.